into their ADC, and it's much more unlikely for them to go for the Varus pick. So clever move for FENNEL University, going for Kha'Zix instead as their first rotation pick.
Now that the Lee Sin has been picked, we might see Rocks on the Thresh. They've picked this pair before only once though, and unfortunately it did not work out. It was exactly during the FENNEL Adversity series. We'll see as Galio now getting picked, they're canceling the potential Akali pick on the side of FENNEL Adversity as well. I mean, Shaw could pick this up. But the Orianna, now there we go, one of Shaw's best picks. It doesn't matter if this is a control mage, he is gonna play it like an assassin. I'm excited to see this push through.
Yeah, and the Varus now been locked in, so FENNEL University still has to go for the Baron laner. But DR Esports will go first though. Ziggs actually being locked in, and Rocks might go in to lock in onto Akali as their Baron laner for DR Esports.
We might not get a Fizz, but we got the Akali this time around. And no threats on the Akali, actually. On the opposite side of FENNEL Adversity, there's no Braum, there's no Gragas. There's nothing that can stand on Devil J's way. And this is going to be key in the later fights. Especially, Devil J will definitely target Danny most of the time, considering that he is the most vulnerable target on FENNEL Adversity side.
Yeah. And I think that's going to be an amazing champion to pick up, because this gives you some of the late game agencies to go for some split push in a 4-1 setup, and I think that is what FENNEL University wants to do, because if they are punished in this early game, especially with that Lee Sin, they could still come back in some sort of way when it comes to gold accumulation. As now it's gonna be game number 2 of the lower bracket finals. FENNEL University up against DR Esports. Do or die for DR as they need to bring this back into game 3. Traditional setup for now for DR Esports and FENNEL University. Goes for 4-man role for both these teams, but no one engages. Both will be safe, just flash clear in the mid lane.
Yeah, because Shaw is going to have a pretty sad level 1 versus the bouncing bomb clears from Edaf. Of course, we got the FENNEL bot lane to help assist with getting priority, or relieving pressure rather, for the level 1s. We're seeing a lane swap, actually, a respond to the lane swap here as they go up top. And it's now the top laners at the dual lane. Infernal Drake will be the first dragon, actually. So that is going to be pretty huge. A big priority for sure for both of these teams. So we'll see when the resets are going to happen for top, and as well as the rotations towards the bottom lane to secure that for themselves.
Yeah. I think I love how you mentioned about the Infernal Dragon, because that is going to be something that we need to look at, especially at 4-minute mark later on. But currently in this dual swap, it's going to be Akali versus Fiora, even still, onto the bot side of the map. And that's going to be an interesting thing to see. And I'll love to know your opinion on this. Who's going to be this better champion to fight a 1v1, Fiora versus Akali?
Yeah, eventually Power is just going to be very scary in the 4-1 split push. I believe in the early phases of the game, though, we get to see that Devil J not dealing as much damage. Meanwhile, Vital Points is available for Power to capitalize on. Meanwhile, though, Edaf is lingering around, so this could be a gank.
Could be. Doming going for the jungle invade, but here into the bot side of the map, Edaf jumps in with a Sonic Wave. That's
Devil J!
And Devil J goes for the 5-point strike, gets the first blood for DR Esports.
That was clean by Devil J and Edaf, though. FENNEL Adversity, in the meantime, they wanted to get a steal on the blue buff, but gets cancelled out by Gospel and Rocks here. And look at the piercing arrows. They hurt so much. No Honey Fruit, too. So Gospel may be forced to back away, lose a little bit of that wave. We'll see as Doming will try that second attempt on that blue buff, but take note, Edaf has now made his rotation on towards this area, so Doming has to give that up. Unless he dives in.
He doesn't.
Nope.
Though I think DR Esports is also wary of Doming's occasion, so I think pretty much even if he jumps in, DR Esports can react fast because you have a ward into that small pixel into the riverbed. So I think that will be the value of information at this point in time for DR Esports at this state of the game. And so far, it's DR Esports still having the torch for them as they take the 1k gold lead, coming down at 3 minutes into the game, wherein everyone has level 5. So ultimates are going to be ready, though. For both these teams, Power is just going for the repose, counters down Devil J.
Yeah, for DR Esports, they have a lot in their kit. They've got Devil J going in, Etaf going in, and maybe even Gospel with a Killer Instinct. Then Rox can follow through with the knock-up. Then the taunts.
But here it's going to be the 2v1. Lee Sin go
Uh-oh.
for Dragon Rage. Akali follows through with a 5-point strike once again. Another kill for DR Esports.
Yeah, nicely done. Constant ganks here coming from Etaf, and they're propelling the scary Devil J on the Akali, and that is definitely not what you want. We talked about this before back in the group stages, and the two most outstanding picks coming from DR is the Fizz and the Akali, and we got that one already from Devil J. We'll see another dive.
No, that's going to be the taunt coming in from Rox. An extra kill for DR Esports is now Power. He's going to be the only one remaining into the bot side of the map, but FENNEL Adversity reacts quickly. Now they have their response coming down in front of bomb. Huge damage coming in from Ziggs.
Yeah, no jungler for the side of FENNEL Adversity. That means DR Esports can take this rain free, unless they get poked out by FENNEL Adversity here, especially Danny has enough mana to keep poking around.
Yeah, they could. Infernal Dragon though, 3k. That's going to be a very chaotic situation. Tidal Wave goes for the 2-man knockup. Here's entrance, zones away, FENNEL Adversity. 1.5k left. That's going to be FENNEL Adversity jumping through. But DR has secured the Infernal Dragon for their team.
Really nicely done by DR there. They constantly pressured topside. Shaw was not present in the entirety of that poke, or that attempt rather. As now, teleport has been bought for Devil J just to save the tower.
Yeah, they tries actually go for the trade instead. Goes for the kill down. Shuriken flip. Shaw is now in danger as Shaw will fall with final execution. Final touch for DR Esports. Gets the kill down, but Doming here to the rescue. Goes for the flash. Gets one more shot. 1-for-1 for FENNEL Adversity. But now Rox goes in for the knockup as well. Doming tries to go through. Rafi with a flash. Actually goes for sustainability, but Rox will die. That will be the 2-for-1 for FENNEL Adversity. Add one more shot for Danny, taking one more kill for their team.
What a nice flash bubble there from Rafi to buy some time, and Etaf was just floating around and about for the rest of FENNEL Adversity to catch up and get all of these exchanged kills. Still, looking at the board, DR Esports still has that scary advantage, especially from Devil J, who got the funnel of kills towards him with 3. Meanwhile, Etaf has 2. We'll see how they can transition that. In the meantime, just 1 apiece for the rest of FENNEL Adversity as we look into the Rift Herald as the next objective.
It's going to be started with FENNEL Adversity. DR Esports could potentially go for the contest, but Kaisa is not going to be available into this fight. DR Esports good call to go back and just wait for Kaisa split push straight down onto the turret.
Yeah, DR Esports, they weren't able to contest, as just as you mentioned, Gospel was pretty much pressured to even out the map just because FENNEL Adversity got First Blood Tower from Shaw's split push there. Had to sacrifice his own life, but at the end of the day, they were still able to kill off 2 people off of that attempt. 1k gold difference though, not as significant. Etaf now buying that Zonia's Hourglass for him to be a little bit more brave coming in to that engages to buy some time in the backline. See if he can get an insect kick towards possibly Danny, maybe even towards Rafi if he sees fit. But still, FENNEL Adversity, they have to answer to Devil J. Whenever he comes in, we saw how much damage he was dealing. And now a potential tower dive could possibly happen as there is no vision surrounding that tri-brush here, as Shaw will try to port back to base.
Although they're not going through, I mean, they're just waiting for that right opportunity, but they don't want to engage Etaf, and that's now gonna be the right opportunity for them. As Devil J will come into the fray, goes for the third top side. That will be the trade that they want. That's going to be gold for DR Esports.
It's going to be gold as well. Shaw, a little greedy to clear the wave in exchange of a flash. In the meantime, in the mid lane, Rift Herald unleashed into the Rift. It's going to get that charge down for sure. We'll see as they're able to not actually finish off this tower, I believe. They're going to make it in time. Meanwhile, bot lane has been constantly pressured, and when we look at FENNEL Adversity's power, Young's Ghostblade plus Muramana fully stacked, Cyrilda's as well, just to add on to the utility, is where Danny will look forward to rather, for him to have all these relevant utility slows, and as well as that scary piercing arrows. And in the meantime, for sure, we'll see as the shockwaves will hurt later on. But so far, 13 seconds on the clock. The Omni Vamp will be very important, especially for FENNEL Adversity to get that sustain in. When you're up against a heavy Ziggs, you're gonna run out of HP, as we'll see with a sneaky setup by Etaf here on the side alongside with Rocks.
Twin Shadows, though, will give them information, so FENNEL Adversity has that knowledge that DR Esports is planning to set up onto the Ocean Dragon. And so far, they have to disengage, and FENNEL Adversity still has dominance into the mid lane, so DR goes back. Good call.
Yeah, that's the mid lane one auto attack away, so we'll see who will be the brave one to land that final auto attack, and I believe it should be Shaw with the empowered autos, but Edaf rather is right there, so it might be a little bit too risky to go in. Look at this though, Edaf trying to set up a death brush here on his own to see if someone will walk his way alongside with Gospel, who can just basically killer instinct in. If they win and get a pick off, then it's going to be a 4v5 towards the dragon.
Yeah, look at Lee Sin's positioning into the map. They're waiting for that right opportunity, while FENNEL Adversity is now split up with 2-man into the mid lane, Kha'Zix into the riverbed, and Shaw is onto the jungle. And so far, DR Esports will not commit that fight, will not commit that engage. They're rather going in for the Ocean Dragon. FENNEL Adversity, Twin Shadows gives it information once again.
Yeah, they're taking their sweet time. Again, FENNEL Adversity just wants to break the mid lane, and now that no one is there to guard that, DR Esports will be pressured to keep going back and forth from the dragon and in the mid lane as well. Especially that wave clear is available with the Varus and as well as Shaw here on the Orianna, not Osiris. But for FENNEL Adversity, they are playing this so patiently.
Very, very patiently indeed. They're just waiting for the right opportunity. I think they're waiting for DR Esports to start the Ocean Drake and just say, thanks for the leash. FENNEL Adversity will try to go for the contest though. DR Esports going full commit on this one. TPs will now come through. FENNEL Adversity goes for the engage.
Taunt.
But now Rocks goes for the 4-man taunt. Followed through by Gospel. Go for the killer instinct, and now that's going to be access to backside. Donnie will die. Rafi will get erased. It's now going to be 3v5. As DR Esports all alive, they get the Ocean Dragon. That will be 2 kills on top of the dragon.
Yeah, nicely done by DR Esports here. Devil J just went all in, no threats whatsoever. He doesn't even need a Zonius enchant just yet. He just basically eliminated Danny and Rafi out of the map in a split second there. And that is the problem that we talked about back in the draft, where there's no one that can deal with Devil J. There's no easy CC that it will able to stop him in his tracks, and the bubble will be too slow, the shockwave will be too slow, and it's most likely not going to be enough. And for DR, this is exactly what they want, as long as Devil J as well keeps alive, survives, and he's going to survive even more, especially if he buys stasis. But so far, he's going to keep this teleport enchant, as he's just going to keep split pushing throughout the map.
Oh, that's what we do, but
Rafi?
Rocks is going for the hyper aggression. That's gonna be Rafi with a tidal wave, and now DR Esports is on a pitch. They don't want to be against FENNEL Adversity. Now power into the backside. Shockwave will not connect. FENNEL Adversity disengage.
That was too close. That could have been disastrous for DR Esports. That shockwave, if it connected, could have equated into a possible Baron take even. So this is very crucial. FENNEL Adversity will try their best to defend this mid lane, as it is the one standing between the possible Baron later on. They want to take control as much as they can. Power!
The power, though. Just into the backside, goes for a spear down. They just want to fight, they just want to parry, but FENNEL Adversity will go for the disengage, as Rocks will be there, pretty much everyone from DR Esports as well.
It's really a problem as well for DR Esports to try and attempt a siege without getting a pick or two, as FENNEL Adversity has a ton of wave clear with the piercing arrows, and as well as the dissonance coming from Shaw on the Orianna. It's a very dark map though for FENNEL Adversity, so this is them being stuck onto their side of the map and just waiting a little bit to get that space and see if they can get a pick, possibly get a punish, because DR Esports, of course, they're going to be pressured to start the fight. I mean, they can initiate tower dives actually and see if they can sandwich But the problem is Devil J is going to continuously pressure the side lanes, and FENNEL Adversity has no answer for that just yet.
Power, though, actually quite overextending, but DR Esports still have the huge respect up against FENNEL Adversity with that huge lead for them. But still, they're not going for the all-in here for DR Esports, while FENNEL might start this Baron Nashor, but opted to go back.
If they take their time, if they take too much time, Devil J is going to get through the inhibitor tower, and look at him now, doing a lot of work at the bottom.
Donovan jumps in, huge damage. Rux will be safe, but you're looking at a split push from Devil J, gets a turret away from FENNEL Adversity.
For FENNEL, they were pressured to start a fight there and then for that 4v4 as, you know, Power was forced to respond to that. We'll see, though, if the next play is going to be if FENNEL decides to put their resources and eliminate Devil J. Now he has a Rabadons. He didn't even have a Rabadons earlier, and he was hurting so much. And now he's going to hurt even more in this next Dragon fight, which is the Air Drake, which is DR Esports would love to have. And help assist, of course, to the roams coming from Devil J as well for FENNEL Adversity. They want this. They need it just so that they can try to punish Devil J a little bit once he overextends into that side split push. For FENNEL, we'll see if they get a pick.
Yeah, that's gonna be a Dragon Rage. Tidal Wave, go for the disengage. Chain of Corruption to follow through. CZ Chain is gonna be flawless. Gospel, even if you have the flash, you cannot go away. FENNEL Adversity going down to it. And that will be their first kill in that fight. ADC will be gone. Shaw will go in for the Shockwave, but DR Esports not gonna connect though. With FENNEL starting on to Cloud Dragon.
And that is huge, killing the AD carry right off the bat, and that's going to be a 4v5. That was the question, is if FENNEL Adversity can get a pick. Again, they're not pressured. Look at EDF, he's going in.
Too early to go for it. FENNEL Adversity gets the kill down onto the Cloud Dragon. Their first Dragon in-game.
The first Dragon for FENNEL Adversity here. That was too close for EDF. If Danny had Chain of Corruptions, I don't think he could have escaped that. And that could have been a potential Baron for FENNEL Adversity, but because the fight just transpired, EDF knew that the Chain of Corruptions was still off a cooldown. Look at this, DR Esports for Zonia's Hourglass. FENNEL Adversity with the triple Twin Shadows just to try and counter out Devil J here on this Akali. And we talked about this before, there's not necessarily an answer.
Oh, flash taunt, that's gonna be Rafi trying to go back. Tidal Wave disengage once again. But at the cost of the flash, good initial setup for DR Esports.
Power teleporting far away, hoping to get a split push, but the Baron's now being started.
Yeah, Twin Shadows gives information for FENNEL Adversity. 9k still for the HP for the Baron Nashor. Power is not here as of yet, doming into the sidelines. Slow coming through, that's for the CC chain. Gospel into the backside, goes for the Killer Instinct. Donnie will die, FENNEL Adversity has now lost their member. As Heroes enter and zones away the enemy team. Repulse from Power gets the damage negated. Shockwave coming through. FENNEL Adversity going for a spicy matchup for now for DR Esports.
Oh no! Yeah, that is the third Shockwave not hitting in this game for Shaw. And he put it onto Power because he's in the middle of it all. But Power wanted to go, but the timing of the Shockwave was just, they didn't get to an agreement. So I wonder what could have happened if the Shockwave hit. Now FENNEL Adversity forced to back away, get that reset once more because Danny still has to live for 10 seconds and DR Esports now possibly setting up for this Baron or just dewarding. And this is a very neck and neck game. Only 1k gold difference so far, 17 minutes in.
They're putting up a close fight for now for FENNEL Adversity, and I commend them for it. Even if DR Esports has that early game lead, as you stated, it's now very, very even for now. Only 2k gold difference, but I think the Elder Dragon in the Baron Nashor fight, that is going to be those clash and objectives that will bring up this inequilibrium coming in from these two teams when it comes to the gold and advantage in game.
When we're talking about advantage, DR Esports definitely has the late game in the bag. The fact that FENNEL Adversity is forced to buy these Twin Shadows instead of the Stasis for them to be safe against Devil J means that they're more on the offense than on the defense, at least for the enchants. So that is something Devil J will be happy about, because whenever he dives in, there's nothing really to stop him. There's nothing there to buy time for FENNEL Adversity, and he can just focus target and avoid the bubble and the shockwave and the chain of corruptions. Basically, if Denny uses the chain of corruptions first, then Devil J, that's basically Devil J's go signal here. And so far, of course, we talked about the late game. Now that Devil J is in the lead, of course, Gospel as well is going to scale really hard. As well, Edaf is just going to hurt so much. And the healing coming from Raffi is not going to be enough. So, FENNEL Adversity is actually the one on a time bomb. Unless they're able to get a pick and punish these long death timers as the game progresses, then that is, you know, the hope for FENNEL Adversity, even though we're looking into the later stages of the game.
Yeah, 20 seconds for the Elder Dragon. This changes things up because two valuable objectives are present in game. 10 seconds on the clock. This is a ticking time bomb for both these teams to go for that engagement and set up for a team fight.
See, Elder Mountain Drake has now spawned. Power doesn't have teleport, still more on that battle kit on his enchant, I believe. So we'll see now as he travels way down what his positioning is going to be.
Power for the flank here up against Devil J. That will be the 1v1. Repulse goes in, negates the damage, and now Danny with some pokes from the arrow. Devil J is now on a very, very low health. But here into the fight, Tidal Wave goes for the double knockup. Shaw will die. It's the Sin going to the backside, gets the kill down. Killer Instinct goes in to jump for that fight, but still Raffi will be alive. This will be the 2-for-0. FENNEL Adversity will lose their two members without any trades for DR Esports.
Yeah, that means DR Esports can free reign on this Elder Drake. They can take their time because there's no pokes, there's no carries from FENNEL Adversity, and Power is basically forced to back away as well. Teleport enabled though.
With the tower going into the backside, Rock goes
another
for the
teleport
taunt that actually disengages. TP's will now come up. Devil J was on the way to the enemy team with a shuriken flip. Actually going for a lot of damage, but Dominic still wants to go for this. Now Power will die down. 2k8 remaining for the Dragon. That's going to be sealed down. It's FENNEL Adversity has stolen the Elder Mountain Dragon. This makes it even for both these teams, but FENNEL Adversity will lose 4 their members out of that.
Yeah, the unexpected happened there, and he just leaped in with 4 members and 2 teleports coming through, though. They want to finish the game.
3 TPs for DR Esports into the bottom side of the map. 108 remaining. Ziggs has that big potential to even clear this out. That will be their first inhibitor turret down up against FENNEL Adversity. 20 seconds on the clock for Power and Dominic to be alive once again, but that is just the only thing that they want, as the top lane is now pushing by themselves.
Yeah, looking at the picture-in-picture, looks like FENNEL Adversity can, while not even things out, that's still an inhibitor tower still standing for DR Esports at top side. But for FENNEL, it's a mini victory. Of course, they got thicker shields with this Elder Mountain Drake for themselves, so it will definitely help them, especially when they're up against Edaf here on this Ziggs. And now for FENNEL, they want to prime their position here on the Baron. They want to see if they can get a pick.
And they are Esports. Huge damage already for Edaf. FENNEL Adversity going for the full commit into the Baron Nashor now. It's going to be Power zoning with Devil J. Grand Challenge will be casted down. Will not be able to go for it. Mega Inferno Bomb. Thanks for the leash. FENNEL Adversity will be able to get that objective. DR Esports Shockwave. That's going to be GA popped down for Devil J. And FENNEL Adversity will go home with the Baron Nashor.
And they ran out of there. For FENNEL Adversity, it is a victory as they're able to basically remove Baron off of the options for DR Esports to close this game. Now, the biggest threat for FENNEL is them losing a fight, getting picked off, because we're 22 minutes in. Death timers are going to be incredibly punishing. And now we'll see how FENNEL Adversity basically maneuvers around the fact that their bot lane is open for the taking. With one teleport still a threat, Gospel still keeping that, not keeping a Zonia's hourglass. We might see a potential sneaky play coming from DR Esports, but now that they're pushing bot, it might be a little bit difficult for DR Esports to do this.
Yeah, FENNEL University, tier 2 turret down into the bot lane. As you've stated, DR Esports is now on their corner of a room where FENNEL University has taken most of the room here for this game so far. And currently, they're just going for some split push. I love how FENNEL University is playing this very patiently, even if they have the Baron buff. Especially at this state of the game, where in its late game, DR Esports has a lot of damage even up against FENNEL Adversity still. So slow push for FENNEL Adversity so far.
Yeah, better to be safe and take care of the control that you have now. As again, you talked about this 23 minutes in, very late into the game. If you lose the fight, you lose the game. And that's the reason why FENNEL Adversity is so careful. Again, DR Esports, they have the damage in the world of everything. They've got Gospel, Edaf, especially Devil J as well, who is able to burst targets down. And looking at FENNEL Adversity, of course, they are treading carefully, seeing if they can take a prime opportunity to see if they can just get space away from the bottom lane to their Nexus. And that was the mission. Pressure is relieved slowly as only the inhibitor towers are up for DR Esports' base.
Yeah, they just got the tier 2 turret. That's enough for FENNEL Adversity so far. Still, only 2k gold difference in this game. We're 20k gold away for going in for the 100k gold mark. And we're in 24 minutes into the matchup. Very, very long, prolonged match for both these teams. This is going to be the do or die next team fight.
It is DR Esports. Exactly. DR Esports, again, if they lose this, they are out. And FENNEL Adversity moves to the grand finals, representing the region of the Philippines in the C Championships. FENNEL Adversity, they feel like they can taste it. For DR, of course, they want to take this into game number 3. Look at the top bot lane, though.
Yeah, power is now going to be catched up by DR Esports, but that will be the kill for FENNEL Adversity instead, as Devil J steps onto the fountain. It's now going to be power going for the defense, though, but look at the mid lane. It's going to be a different story, but into the bot lane, it's also going to be a play. It's also going to be a gank. That's going to be GA. Pop down. Shaw gets the kill down into the mid side of the map. FENNEL Adversity is removing 3 members away for DR Esports. Is now going to be the 5v2. Etaf and Edaf, the only one remaining to go for the defense. FENNEL Adversity is a team on a mission. They want to finish this game. They want to bring this in a 2-2-0 sweep so that they can go into the grand finals, represent the Philippines for the C Championship. But so far, 13 seconds for Devil J to be alive once again. TPs will not come through for power. Goes in, 1 inhibitor turret will be down for FENNEL Adversity. Baron Dasher will be alive though. It's a good call to be
18.
back away. They're going for the objective instead.
Yeah, that is a
Shockwave.
good call. Shaw, that is too close. That could have been a pick. -1 member for this Baron buff. Look at the waves though at top bot lane rather. It is building slowly. Baron now being started. DR Esports so far away from this, and FENNEL gets another Baron in their hands. And now there was an attempt for DR Esports. That is the reason why they kept the teleport from Gospel. They wanted to make it a 1v2 situation, surprise power. But looking at the enchants right now, that doesn't seem to be the call. And I feel like the problem is now that there's a lot of Guardian Angels to pop on the side of FENNEL Adversity. You have Doming here on this Kha'Zix. I believe Danny doesn't have the Guardian Angel anymore. It has been popped from earlier as he died, but he just switches it up into this Black Cleaver. We'll see now as, again, FENNEL Adversity has to keep an eye on the bottom lane at all times. For DR Esports, the mid lane is open for them as well. Power doing the split push, he has to be careful.
He has to be. It's Devil J matching it up, and DR Esports went for the 4-man roam into the mid lane. But so far, when you're looking at FENNEL Adversity, they want to go for the 1-2-2. They want to get that inhibitor turret in top lane and bot lane. And DR Esports have to defend, has to punish. And now Rock going to the backside. That's going to do both taunts. But Chain of Corruptions going for the root down. After Prison to follow through. CZ Chain is going to be flawless. Now Power go for the Nexus base. They want to finish this game. The Flash will be burned though. He is going to be safe for now. And FENNEL Adversity will be collapsed.